Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, your go-to destination for all the latest political commentary and in-depth analysis on South Africa's biggest stories. If you're new here, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. If you've been with us, welcome back and thank you for your continued support. Today, we are diving into a story that's reignited serious debates about race, rights, and South Africa's constitutional values. The uMkhonto weSizwe party, or MK party, has made headlines following its recent visit to Kleinfontein, an Afrikaner-only enclave near Pretoria. This visit is causing national debate, especially over Section 235 of the South African Constitution, which speaks to the right to cultural self-determination. But has this section been misused? And does Kleinfontein represent a celebration of culture or something far more controversial? Kleinfontein has long been a symbol of Afrikaner self-determination. Established during the early days of democracy, the town limits residency to Afrikaans-speaking Afrikaners who embrace specific cultural traditions. Residents defend their right to live among their own, arguing it's about cultural survival, not exclusion. Yet, critics have always been uneasy with Kleinfontein's model. To many, it represents a softer version of apartheid, separation justified under a constitutional loophole. The MK party's visit reignited these tensions, with party representative Segregation raising strong concerns. Segregation made it clear, the MK party supports cultural rights for all South Africans. But when cultural rights are used as a cover for maintaining racial separateness, it becomes a constitutional and moral issue. He argued that Section 235 should never allow for practices that echo the racial divisions of the past. The MK party is now calling for stronger parliamentary oversight on how cultural self-determination is applied nationally. They insist that while protecting cultural heritage is important, it must never override the Constitution's core values of equality, non-racialism, and unity. This confrontation raises deeper questions about what kind of country South Africa wants to be. The Constitution beautifully balances cultural diversity with non-racialism, but in practice, finding that balance is complicated. Supporters of Kleinfontein argue that every cultural group has the right to preserve its language, traditions, and way of life. They ask, if other cultural communities have spaces where their culture thrives, why can't Afrikaners have theirs? Critics respond that there's a difference between cultural celebration and cultural isolation. They argue that when a town restricts residency based on cultural identity, especially when that identity historically aligned with racial privilege, it crosses a dangerous line. The MK party's stance also taps into broader frustrations. Almost 3 decades after democracy, South Africa remains deeply unequal, and those inequalities often fall along racial lines. Spaces like Kleinfontein feel, to many, like a refusal to fully commit to the vision of a non-racial South Africa. It's worth remembering that Section 235 itself is deliberately vague. It speaks to the right of communities sharing a common culture and language to self-determination, but doesn't define exactly how far that right extends. Does it allow for racially exclusive towns? The Constitution is silent on this. That ambiguity is why the MK party is calling for clear oversight. They argue that cultural self-determination must be guided carefully, so it uplifts communities without re-entrenching old divisions. Cultural rights should protect language, traditions, and art, not become a tool for racial exclusion. Some commentators have noted that the MK party's move is not just about Kleinfontein. It's part of a broader effort by the party to position itself as a defender of true constitutional transformation, willing to tackle uncomfortable topics head-on. But there's also political risk. Some may accuse the MK party of targeting minority rights or stirring racial tensions. Whether this helps or harms their credibility heading into the elections remains to be seen. What's undeniable, though, is that the Kleinfontein issue forces the nation to confront painful realities. Democracy is about more than majority rule, it's about living together, across differences, in a way that builds unity without erasing diversity. But when cultural autonomy starts to look like racial separation, South Africans are right to ask hard questions. How can we honor cultural identity while rejecting racial privilege? How can we protect minority rights without protecting inequality? Kleinfontein sits at the crossroads of these issues. For its residents, it's a place of pride and preservation. For many others, it's a symbol that too little has changed. And for politicians like those in the MK party, it's a call to action, to re-examine how constitutional rights are lived out in practice. This debate isn't just about one small community near Pretoria. It's about the unfinished business of South Africa's democracy. It's about whether we truly believe in a future where diversity strengthens us, or whether, beneath the surface, old separations quietly endure. It's also about whether our laws are being interpreted and enforced in ways that serve the spirit of democracy, or just its technicalities. As South Africa wrestles with this question, one thing is clear: unity, transformation, and true freedom require more than slogans. They require vigilance, honesty, and a deep commitment to living out the Constitution's highest ideals. We'd love to hear your views on this critical story. Do you think communities like Kleinfontein are a legitimate expression of cultural rights? Or do they represent a step backwards for South Africa's democratic project? Let's open the conversation in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who care about South Africa's future. Every voice counts in building the kind of society we all deserve. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.